Okay, so let's get into makeup. And I wanted to do like a really Christmassy look here because it's the holidays. I think I have some more of this, or I thought I did. I think this is like an old bottle, but as you can see, I use the Dewy Smooth Foundation by Maybelline, and then I like to pair that with the Revlon Color Stay. Now, both of these are pretty much my favorite drugstore foundations and the only ones I'll use from the drugstore, honestly, that I think are effective and they look just as good as high quality, high-end makeup. It's just more so the color match because somehow these two look slightly different, but when they're paired together, it looks pretty spot on to how I want it to look. This one is in the color 330 Toffee. It's a little more golden, so it really matches my golden undertones in my skin. And then this one is, let's see, what color are you? It's 510 Pecan. It's a smidget too dark, but it still somehow comes off really true to my skin tone. So these two I find like balance each other out really well. So what I'm going to do is, without getting it on my new watch, I'm going to pump a little bit of the Revlon there, and then I'm going to take, the one thing I don't like about the Fit Me foundation is that it has no pump, so it's like very hard to get out without like getting it everywhere or like overusing it. So I'm taking my Morphe brush. This is just a normal foundation brush. I'm just mixing it slightly here and applying it on my face, just like a paintbrush. And I find that this is like when I'm actually really trying to apply my foundation really evenly, so it looks really flawless. I find that just applying it like this, it doesn't mean you have to blend it out necessarily with this brush, because I don't like blending with this brush. I don't think it leaves like a streak-free finish like it should, but I find that it distributes the product perfectly in the right amounts, just how I want it to go. And yeah, I'm just kind of putting it down my nose, and then can't forget the forehead, like so. And you can see, like, basically by mixing those, like, it kind of creates like the perfect kind of complexion color for me, at least in my mind, because I like the yellowness on my skin, I do, but I feel like this is like the right combination of like yellow and brown, and I just like how it looks. So yeah, Real Techniques, what do you call it, buffing brush, and I'm going to just buff that out really quickly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just brightening everything up on my face, because I find that like I am just lacking sleep for whatever reason, and my dark circles are really prominent. To get rid of that and bring like my eyes just back to the forefront and make it not so like sunken in, I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the color Creamy Beige. You know, keeping it really affordable here, because we got a lot of bills, and makeup, high-end makeup, is not super high on the priority list anymore. So I'm taking it like so and just swooping it. I used to do a lot of concealer. I don't do as much as I used to because I feel like it just makes your overall foundation just get really muddy and washed out. And I just want to focus on the dark spots. So we're just going to go right over those dark circles and get rid of them ASAP. I'm going to take the same foundation brush I used just to spread it out a little bit and lightly tapping. You're not dragging it down your face, but you do want to just kind of lightly tap to distribute the product. And I find that dipping into the same brush that I use for my foundation actually helps with keeping the color not as like stark and bright, but actually blends it in really well with your foundation. And there, that's it. Pretty simple. You're just going to repeat the same thing to the other eye, obviously. Contouring is just so like, simple. But you definitely want to shape it to your face properly, if that makes sense. You don't want to just do like, weird lines and stuff like that, because it won't look natural. What I do is I always kind of start up my jawline here. So now that we're done with that, we're going to go into the eyeshadow, which for me is going to be the biggest part of this look because it's going to be the holiday eyeshadow look. There was two palettes I wanted to bring out for this video. It's the Makeup Revolution, the Emily Edit Wants palette. I don't think I've ever filmed with this palette specifically in my videos ever, but I did buy it a little bit ago, and I feel like I kind of wanted to give it some shine here. So the transition colors in this palette, I have to hold on to this color because it popped out some time ago. I feel like the colors in this palette are just beautiful. Like, some of them you need to have to dig into them a little bit to get the color payoff you want, but overall it's just a beautifully, arranged palette. I remember on on YouTube I saw a YouTuber who was pretty big. I believe her name is Tati. She pretty much roasted this palette and said it wasn't great, didn't work for her, blah blah blah. And I actually really like Tati. She's one of those few YouTubers who I feel like I actually watch and I enjoy it. I feel like it's very what do you call it? Like, it's just a basic makeup review, and she's very genuine. But I was actually really shocked that she didn't like this palette, because I actually think it's a really, really nice, color story here. So I'm going to be going to a lot of these transition shades just to kind of deepen my socket here and to really kind of carve everything out. So I'm using another Real Techniques eyeshadow brush here. First I'm going into the cream, which is like standard white ashy color here, and we're just going to kind of go all over everything, your lid, all the way up to the brow bone, just to kind of matte everything out. And then we're going to go into the shade Hobby. Hobby is like a very tan, just kind of basic color, and just kind of go right here, just kind of in a swooping motion. And then I'm going to go into the color Cheer, which is like this plum color here. Really pretty. And just kind of stay on the outside corner with this color, not bringing it all the way over, because we're not trying to blend it completely over with the other ones. Just kind of deepening the corner and then bringing it upwards as well, like so. And one thing I've learned is it's not so much as blending it inwards. You also want to feather out the color, because that kind of keeps like the gradient looking nice, and it just blows it out in a way that looks really, really pretty. And we're going to do the same thing here. So this, I alluded to this in my last video, but I'm not sad per se. I just feel like I'm realizing that I deserve so much more than what I've settled for in the past. And it's very like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very sobering to think of. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very sobering to think that you spent years of your life, chasing after these aspirations and these dreams, and, it just was never going to work. In hindsight, it'd be crazy to look and see like what I was chasing and all those dreams and aspirations I had, that I idealized, that where I saw myself and what I wanted was really just completely the wrong decision. And you know, you can never say that you regret things and that you wish things never happened, because clearly I've learned a lot about people and relationships and what I will and will not tolerate from them. But it's just so crazy to think that, you know, what I thought I wanted, maybe it just wasn't the right timing, maybe it wasn't the right person, maybe I just didn't, I thought that by putting everything into what I wanted, it would happen, and that if I gave it more time and more time and more time, that, you know, eventually it's going to work out. But it wasn't the case. And I think it takes like at least one heartbreak for you to really get it, for you to really see that, you know, just because you have something in your mind as to what you want, and you put your life into it, really, you put all your time and your love and your energy into it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come to fruition. And that was really tough for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop deepening, actually, and I'm going to start cutting my crease a little bit. And what is cutting your crease, Jasmine? Some people will be asking me. Basically, I'm just going to make a strong line of definition between, you know, where my crease is and then where my lid is. So I'm taking this color, corduroy, and then mixing that with dark and early, and taking out the excess. Now just be careful, this can get very messy, and these are very dark colors, so you want to just make sure that you're being very precise. And I go with light strokes, like so. And you can kind of see it on camera, maybe not, but you can kind of see where that line is. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. Side hustle, which if you can see, it's like hard to see it, but it's kind of like this very kind of mossy green type of shimmery shade. And we're going to go on that same brush, and we're just going to go right there over the lid, and we're dragging down. So we're taking kind of the smudge out of that line we drew, and we're blending downwards. We're not going up, we're going down, just so any remnants that we do bump into with the line we drew, it drags downwards. That's what we want to happen. And we're doing the same thing here. It's by Violet Voss, the Flamingo palette. We're just going to open this bad boy up, and you can see it's a very vibrant palette. We're going to use our fingers. Yes, we're using our fingers with this one, and we're going into the color Beach Ball, and it's like a very bright aquamarine, in your face kind of green color. We're going to take that right on our pinky, and we're going to go right in the center of our lid, like so. And this is such a pigmented color palette here. Like, this is very, very pigmented. So you're just lightly going to tap on top of your lid. You want to make sure that you're on your lid, because getting this over your lower lash line, getting this on top of other parts of the look is just going to completely ruin it. So you just want to be careful. And look at that. Bam. Bam. That's pigmented. So we're going to do the same thing on the other lid here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of winged liner, just to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. I never use winged liner anymore, so this is kind of fun. So one thing I'm going to do, which is very abnormal for me, is take an actual eyeshadow to do my brows. Now, I always use a pencil or something, a pomade, but right now I am unfortunately out of both, which is completely weird for me, but no worries. If you have something to use, it's better than nothing, right? And then we're gonna add a little bit of lipstick here. This is a Kat Von D lipstick in the shade Outlaw. Last but not least, some mascara. This is just normal